They thought she was weak. They thought she was broken. But they had no idea. She was waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the story of Claire Morgan, a 24-year-old waitress who everyone ignored. To her boss, Ray Holloway, she was nothing. A disposable girl in a thrift store uniform. Someone to insult, to humiliate, to underpay. Ray wasn't just her boss. He was the most powerful man in town. He owned restaurants. He funded the police. He bragged that no one could touch him. And for a long time he was right. But one night, Claire overheard him laughing with two cops. He bragged about silencing a waitress who once threatened to sue. And then he said the words that made her blood run cold. Nobody believes a poor little waitress, especially when she disappears. That's when she realized Ray wasn't just cruel. He was dangerous. But instead of running, she started recording. Every insult, every illegal payout, every drunken confession. For 6 months she played the quiet girl. She smiled when he mocked her, nodded when he stole her paycheck. And Ray believed she was broken. That was his mistake. The night came at Ray's annual charity banquet. The night he paraded himself as a hero. Politicians, police chiefs, business leaders, all clapping for him as he stood on stage. But Claire was there too. And this time she wasn't just serving drinks. She was serving justice. As Ray started his speech, the giant screen behind him flickered. At first, people thought it was a glitch. Then Claire's voice filled the hall. Recordings. Ray threatening employees. Ray mocking the police. Ray bragging about taking care of women. The room went silent. Gasps echoed across the hall. And there, in the back, Claire stood with the remote in her hand. For the first time in years, she wasn't invisible. By morning, the recordings had gone viral. The man who thought he was untouchable was now in handcuffs. And Claire? She became the woman who burned his empire to the ground. The lesson? Never underestimate the quiet ones. The people you dismiss are the ones who see you most clearly. And sometimes, they're the ones holding the match. Ray thought silence meant weakness. But Claire's silence was strategy. And that was his final mistake. But just when Claire thought it was over, something chilling happened. 2 days after Ray's arrest, she came home. Her front door was ajar. Her hidden notebook, gone. On the kitchen table, a single sheet of paper, written in red ink. You think Ray was the only one? And beneath it, a photograph of Claire, taken from outside her bedroom window. Claire Morgan thought the nightmare was over. Ray Holloway was behind bars. His empire was in ashes. And for the first time she could breathe. But then, the note appeared. On her kitchen table. Red ink scrawled across a single sheet of paper. You think Ray was the only one? And beneath it, a photograph of Claire, taken from outside her bedroom window. Suddenly, everything she thought she knew collapsed. Claire reported it to the police. But the same officers who once drank with Ray shrugged it off. They told her it was probably a prank, that she was overreacting. But Claire knew better. The notebook was gone. Someone had been inside her apartment. This wasn't a prank. This was a warning. In the days that followed, she noticed small things. Her car door left unlocked when she swore she had locked it. Footsteps echoing behind her when she walked home at night. And the feeling, constant, heavy, that someone was watching. Then late one evening, a package arrived at her door. No return address. Inside, her missing notebook. But the pages weren't the same. Whole sections had been underlined. Dates circled. Names highlighted. At the bottom of the last page, another message in red ink. You don't know the whole story. Terrified but determined, Claire dug into the notes she once thought were complete. And the more she studied them, the more she realized something chilling. Ray wasn't working alone. There were others. Business partners. Police officers. Maybe even politicians. Ray was just the front man. A puppet. And someone else was still pulling the strings. Claire decided she couldn't wait for the police. She reached out to a local journalist known for exposing corruption. A man named Lawson. At first he seemed eager, too eager. He promised her protection. He promised to get the truth out. But as she sat across from him in a dim cafe, Claire noticed something. On the table beside his notebook, a familiar item. A silver lighter. The same one she had seen in Ray's office months before. Her stomach dropped. Eric wasn't a savior. He was connected. That night she fled the meeting. Her instincts screaming. And when she got home, her worst fear was confirmed. Her apartment had been ransacked. Papers scattered. Drawers pulled out. And taped to her bathroom mirror, a single Polaroid photograph. It showed Claire sitting in that cafe just hours earlier. The picture had been taken from the next table, right behind her, and scrawled across the photo in red ink were just 3 words. We are everywhere. This is no longer just about Ray Holloway. This is bigger, darker. And Claire has no idea who she can trust, because if the people behind Ray are watching her every move, what happens when they finally decide she's too dangerous to keep alive? Claire Morgan knew the game had changed. Ray Holloway was just a pawn, and now the real players had stepped out of the shadows. They left her warnings. They watched her every move, and they made one thing clear. She was not safe. But Claire wasn't the same timid waitress anymore. She had already brought down one monster, and she refused to live in fear of the next. So she made a choice. They were watching her. She would watch them back. Claire retraced her notes. Every name she had overheard. Every payment she had seen. One name appeared again and again. Judge Malcolm Greer. A respected man. A family man. The kind of figure people believed could do no wrong. But buried in the recordings were subtle hints. Ray bragging about friends in robes who protected him. And Claire realized the corruption reached higher than she had ever imagined. She began tailing the judge in secret, waiting outside his courthouse, watching the cars that came and went. And one night she saw something that made her blood run cold. The same journalist she had once trusted, Eric Lawson, walking into the judge's private chambers, laughing, shaking hands, as if they'd known each other for years. Claire snapped photos from her car, but the flash betrayed her. In an instant, both men turned toward her window, and that's when she knew. They weren't just aware of her investigation. They were expecting it. The next morning, Claire woke up to find her phone buzzing non-stop. Unknown numbers, blocked callers, each voicemail the same. A man's voice, low and calm. Stop digging, or you'll end up like Ray's waitress. But instead of backing down, Claire went further. She tracked down a former employee of Ray's, a woman named Angela who had vanished years earlier. Everyone thought she had left town. But Claire found her living under a new name in a neighboring city. And what Angela revealed shattered everything. Ray hadn't been silencing victims on his own. He was part of something larger. A network. A secret circle of businessmen, politicians, and judges. And Judge Greer was at the center. Angela begged Claire to stop. She said this group wasn't just powerful. They were untouchable. And anyone who got too close disappeared. But before Claire could ask more, headlights flooded the motel parking lot where they met. Engines roared. Dark SUVs pulling in fast. Angela shoved a flash drive into Claire's hand and whispered, "This is everything. Run." Claire barely escaped through the back alley. But as she sprinted into the night, tires screeched behind her. A door slammed. And a man's voice shouted, "She has the drive." Now Claire is running for her life, with proof that could expose the entire conspiracy. But proof means nothing if she doesn't live to reveal it. And as headlights closed in behind her, she realized the truth. Ray Holloway was just the beginning. The real monsters were still out there, and they're coming for her. Kindly consider subscribing to the channel for more true crime stories just like this one.